Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spill the Tea. I know you've been waiting for it because I sure have. And I'm just going to say welcome to everyone. My name is Keisha Savory, one of your hosts, and I'm joined by our distinguished guests and our other co-host today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, Nicole Gurley.
You know, she's here. I always mess her up at the very beginning. I throw off our beginning all the time. But our distinguished guest today, I know you probably heard the name, the college essay guy, before. I know at the schools we get questions about, the college essay guy. You've seen stuff on Facebook, YouTube, and all over. Well, we have our guest, Sandy Longworth, who actually works with the whole deal of what the college essay guy is. And she is gracing us with her presence today. So hello, Sandy, how are you?
I'm really good, and I'm glad to be here today with you guys.
This is going to be awesome. I'm telling you, we always get questions. People have referred to you guys all the time. So why don't you introduce yourself? Let the people know who you are.
Sure. So my name is Sandy Longworth. I live in a suburb of Chicago. And I've been a school counselor for a while, but way back, I was trained as a narrative family therapist. Oh. And so I worked in the field of psychology. I did research for a while. I worked at Northwestern doing research on teenagers and mental health before I came into school counseling. And when I started working on college essays, it just felt really familiar to me. And so once I started using Ethan's stuff from College Essay Guy, I was like, this is like narrative family therapy, because that's the belief is that we story our lives. We have these personal stories we tell about our lives. So just felt really familiar to me. And I've been working with Ethan now at College Essay Guy for coming up on 4 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So give us a little bit of background. I got a chance to say a couple words to Sandy before this, and I go, I thought it was one guy that was doing that, sitting in front of his computer, but there's obviously more than just one guy. So give us a little background on the College Essay Guy and what's going on with you guys today.
Absolutely. Yeah. People think Guy and I show up, right? So College Essay Guy is also known as Ethan Sawyer. And Ethan actually, his background was in screenwriting. He went to Northwestern and studied screenwriting. And he found a lot of parallels in the college essay where they ask you to tell the colleges their personal story. And so he started seeing a lot of overlap with a couple different structures of screenwriting, specifically narrative structure and montage structure. And so he started using that in coaching students on how to write their college essays. So he's been doing that for years. He wrote a book a while ago called College Essay Essentials, which is like a top seller on Amazon. And he just had a new book that he came out with last year called College Admissions Essentials for kids starting in like 9th grade and saying, what should you do 9th through 12th grade? So. And he's got a team of us now. So there's a bunch of us working.
Awesome. So when we have questions about the college essay, which we have all of the time, we were thinking, why not pull in the experts from the College Essay Guy to kind of help answer all these questions that our kids have been having? Nice. So let's go ahead. So main question, even though kids really hate writing the college essay. So when it comes to the application process, how important is the essay? Do all colleges actually value it? Is it worth writing? How important is it?
Right. So it really is going to depend on the school. You'll see that some schools do not require a personal statement, but surveys show, like IECA, which is Independent Educational Consultants Association, has surveyed colleges years after year, and they find that the top 4 things are rigorous high school course load. So the classes you take, how rigorous are they? Your GPA, so your grades matter, your standardized test scores, and then in like just being passionate about some sort of activity. It doesn't have to be something specific, but being involved in something. And then comes the qualitative stuff. So that's the essay, the letters of recommendation. So how do you stand out at a selective school where everyone's got top test scores and GPAs, right? How do you determine one student from another? It's those qualitative factors that come through in your essay or personal statement. And letters of rec. I'm like a big fan of counselor letters of rec, teachers letters of rec, anyone who can really talk to who you are outside of those numbers. So, and in the last year with test scores, tests have been crazy with COVID and people not been able to take tests. And so all these schools have gone test optional. We believe that the schools are looking more and more at things like the essays, that when they say they're doing a holistic review of a student, we believe that they are paying more attention to the essay. We'll see, right? We're getting decisions now, so we'll see.
Well, we keep hearing from the college reps that they are really focusing on essays, especially this year. So let's hope that they are actually holding true to their statements.
Yeah.
So with these dreaded essays, as some have, what should a student do to actually get started writing the essay? Like, what's the first step? They get this prompt, or they're not sure what prompt, I mean, where do they even start?
Yeah. So really what you want to say in your essay is who you are. You want to communicate your values, your skills, the qualities that you're going to bring to campus. So they have an idea like who you're going to be when you step onto their campus. And so a lot of students don't know really what that is even. It's hard to articulate that. So we have a super simple, like 5-minute exercise called the values exercise. It is one sheet. And it lists a whole bunch of values, anything from family to friendship to community service, religion. And we have students identify their top values. It's for, like, you can do it for free on our website. Just go to collegeessayguide.com and just Google values exercise. And having students identify their top 10 values, their top 5 values, and then their top value, which changes, right? So I always tell students, like, do it year to year. I actually do it every couple of months because my values will change. 2020, I found some things shifting, but once they figure out what is most important to them, that is what their essay should be about. So if your top 3 values are like compassion, education, and family, that should come through in your essay, right? So that should give you some grounding. So that's like the very, very basics, is making sure that what's important to you is what's coming through in your essay. And then there's all sorts of other brainstorming exercises, and we do have free brainstorming exercises on our website. So we encourage students to do that. We also have some boot camps that Ethan's doing for free. So if your school hasn't yet signed up, we have some free boot camps that they can sign up for, and every student at your school can go through them. And the first day, he's doing 3 of them over the summer, 1 in May, 1 in June, and 1 in August. And on the first day of each of those, he goes through 90 minutes of brainstorming with students. So just coming up with that content, figuring out what you should even write about.
That's awesome. Well, since you're hitting on the things that you should write about, Nicole and I get a chance to work with a lot of students in our county. And one of the biggest things that we work with are their essays, just looking it over, seeing what the topics are, if they're focusing on stuff. But one of the things that I see a lot of, and it's so depressing, is students want to focus on the negative things in their life. It's almost like they're writing a country song and their dog died, their mama has a limp in her one leg, and and they need some Popeye's chicken or something. I don't know. But besides focusing on the negative, what suggestions would you give to the kids to, just not have it just doom and gloom?
I know, I hear you. And I think that, I will say that the reason I think that has come about is because they want to say, like, yes, I have a B average and this other student has a B average, but I also have all these awful things that I've had to work through. And that's why my B average is better than your B average, right? So I think that's, if I had to guess, that's kind of why I think that's come about. And it does matter to colleges because that does make a difference to them, right? So it's okay if you feel just compelled to tell about challenges you've been through, but the way that we suggest students write about their challenges is I make it really easy. The challenge should be 25% of your essay. 50% of your essay should be what you did about that challenge. And then the last 25% is like how you overcame that. Who are you now? What superpowers have you learned through those challenges? So if you're going to write about a challenge, right? Like that's
Yeah.
a great way to show and not leave the person completely depressed after reading your essay. And we get it, like they have hearts and we want them to feel your story, but they don't have to be about the negative. So I usually ask students, we start with one question. Have you been through challenges, and do you feel like that's something important to understanding who you are? If the answer is yes, go ahead and write that. But if the answer is no, there are other sides of you that make up who you are that are important for the admissions team to know. So that's kind of the dividing point. And I'll tell you that as a team, we are writing less and less of those narrative challenge-based essays because once we give students freedom not to have to write about that, they're like, oh, okay, I just thought I had to put that in there, you know? So, and there's other parts of the, like the Common App, I don't know if a lot of students don't realize there's a section called the additional info section. And it is one question. It says, hey, do you have any additional info you want to tell us? Most students are like, well, I don't know, what am I going to put in there, right? So the answer though is yes. It's another 650 words, which is the same size as the personal statement. So if you want to do just a quick, like, by the way, I have my B and I had all these difficult things, you can put them in bullet format in the additional info. So you can still get it into that application without it being the focus of your personal statement.
Thank you so much for saying that, because there are times after reading them, I need a hug. You know, it's just sad. We can't even hug each other right now with COVID. So thank you for saying that. But so as they are doing that, whether it's in the additional section or not, are there any topics that you would tell them, hey, just stay away from that? I know we want the schools to know some of the struggles that they go through, but is there anything that they should kind of back off on?
I think that's a controversial question, to be honest. I think that you'll get different answers from people. Even on our team, you'll get different answers. Because I have had experience with students writing about the taboo topics and still getting into every school that they applied to. So I think it's really the way that you write about those topics. If someone comes and is sort of spilling their deepest, darkest secrets, and it's maybe not their best side of themselves, I'll say, like, do you think that that's a likable side? Do you think that the admissions team, like, they're real people reading your essay, right? So do you think that's likable? And they're like, I don't know, but if they don't like it, they shouldn't take me. I'm like, all right, well, let's talk about that, right? So I think it's the way that you talk about it. So like mental health challenges, that comes up all the time. Someone says, I struggle with anxiety, and dang, this COVID has really got me. Like, I have struggled like crazy. Again, if that's 25% of your essay, but you talk for 50% about what have you done about it? Have you been through treatment? Have you learned all these great skills to organize your life and mindfulness and connecting with others? And so now the last 25% is, look at this awesome person that I am now because I've struggled with this. They're real people. They get it, that there's struggles. And to be honest, so I'm a parent of teens. I should have said that. I have twins who are juniors in high school now. So I'm going through this as a mother.
Wow.
So my kids are going to be writing their essays this summer. You know, and I say to them, like, it's okay. And it's preferable to actually have those struggles in high school and have support around you, because if you go off to college, who knows how you're going to respond. So if you tell them ahead of time, yes, I had this struggle, but this is how I've dealt with it, and I now have all these strengths, they're actually less worried about you on their campus because you already have some tools to deal with those things. So I'm in the camp that there's not a lot of taboo topics, really. It's more about how you present it to them.
That's great. I actually had an admissions rep doing a presentation one time at a school, and she literally said, do not talk about death, disease, or divorce, like the 3 Ds. But I love how you said that any topic is open, but the kids need to keep it to just that 25%. Like, that's a great way to look at it. They can really think about that. Just the small portion of it is, you know, the actual what happened to them. So that is so great.
Yeah.
So when they're actually thinking about these topics, should they be thinking about what they want to write about first, or should they be looking at the questions and seeing what question do they want to answer? How do they actually explore the topics and then choose the question?
Right. So, you know, I should say too, there are two different types of college essays. There's what I keep referring to as the personal statement, and that's that main one that Common App asks you at 650 words. And then there's these supplemental essays that each specific college might ask you, like, why do you want to attend University of Wisconsin? You know, or tell us about an extracurricular activity that's meaningful to you. Those are what we call supplements. Those pay attention, like right to the prompt, answer their question.
Yeah.
But the personal statement, we actually don't even look at the prompts at all. So the Common App added this 7th prompt 2 years ago now that says, write about any topic that you want. And so that's what we tell students, do not even look at the prompt. Write your story and then look at the prompts and see where it fits. And if it doesn't fit anywhere, you put it in that 7th prompt. Now, I've had students who are like, does that mean I can submit like my history paper? I'm like, no, that's not your personal story. So it is your personal story. And I truly, like I said, we really don't even look at the prompts. So you start with the values. What's important to you? What are the skills, values, and qualities that I want to show to the college about myself? And then where does it fit into those prompts?
Great.
That is so awesome. And by the way, your voice is so soothing. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm learning too.
I'm going back to my therapy voice.
There you go. There you go. Well, what do you think? You know, after looking at so many essays over the years, we always get the kids that are like, I want my essay to stand out. You know, what do I say? What do I do? What do I need to make sure is in there? How do they make the essay stand out?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. One is it needs to be uncommon. And so Ethan and I talk about this, like what essays are on our website, right? We've got all these sample essays, and some of them are just like, really? Like, you're playing an instrument I've never even heard of, or you're from some country, like that's super uncommon. How can I, average Joe living in the US in a city, you know, like, how do I stand out, right? So we play this uncommon game. And so something needs to be uncommon. If the topic cannot be uncommon, then you need to have uncommon connections or uncommon language. And so we do this sort of game, right? So we'll say, well, what are some topics that are important to you? I had a student last year who wanted to write about golf. And we're like, well, you know, okay, it's a sport. So sport is common. And the kids' lessons, right, that they learn about that sport are common. So we pull out our values exercise. I use a values exercise all the time. And I'm like, all right, so you really want to write about golf. And also I say, like, golf is going to show some privilege. So you need to be okay that those schools you're applying to, you're okay that you're showing some privilege, because it's kind of an expensive sport to be playing. So there's that. But you take their topic that is common, you know, and you go through the values, and I'll say, okay, let's pretend we're going to write a really common, like, cliche essay about golf. What do you think that your typical student across the country is going to write about? And they'll pick out, oh, leadership, you know, hard work, friendship. And I'm like, yeah, those are the common things, right? So then I'd say, well, what are some uncommon values that are values of yours that you could connect to golf? And so they look for something, and it could be, say, compassion or spirituality. And it's like when that piques your curiosity, and I'm like, I can't actually see that connection.
Right.
If you can make that connection, I want to read that essay.
Yeah.
So we like the topic to be, Ethan calls it elastic. It's something that can fit in a number of different values. And so we have them come up with a topic, and then we look at the different values that it can connect to. If it connects to a lot, it's probably a good topic. And then the language that they needs to be uncommon again. So that's kind of how you stand out from a boring or cliche or kind of common essay where the reader's fallen asleep.
Great.
True.
And so you hear those people, right? I heard
Yeah.
someone from Yale. I was
Yeah.
so sad to hear this, but she's like, I was reading them all and I actually like fell asleep in my chair and the paper fell down and I'm waiting for her to say, and I picked it up and she's like, nope, I just moved on to the next one. Oh, killing me here.
Right.
Oh my, yes. So you've mentioned a couple times like the 650 word count essay for the Common App. How important is the word count in any essay that they write?
So it's important in that they can't go over because it's a little
Right.
text box, so they're cut off, right? So if a student has 1,400 words, it's not going to fit. But we encourage students to use as much of that as possible because it's their opportunity, it's their only shot. It's like an interview. And I heard an admissions person say, it's kind of like you're riding up an elevator with that person. You only got a few minutes and you got it, you know, before the doors closed, you're like, you wanted to say everything you can about yourself. So I feel like if you had that opportunity to sit with an admissions person to tell them about yourself, you're probably not going to sit there quietly saying nothing. You want to use up that space. So our recommendation is to use as much as possible without repeating yourself. You know, it still needs to be some new content.
Oh, great. Yes. Good. That's awesome with that elevator. I like that.
Mhm.
So if a student's considering like an Ivy League or a public university, is there a difference in their essay or can the essay kind of be the same for all types of colleges?
Yeah, the personal statement really should be the same because you're showing yourself to all the universities. How much it matters is going to differ, right? So if you're you're applying to a big public university that has lots of applications and you fit their numbers, you know, your high test score, your high GPA for their profile of who they're going to accept, they might not look as closely as at your essay. We've heard that they look more closely at people who are kind of on that admissions bubble. The numbers are kind of questionable. They want to know a little bit more about you. And of course, the selective universities, like I talked about before, it's like most kids who apply to those schools, you hear from admissions people say, gosh, so many people who applied probably could do the work and graduate from our university, but we can't take them all because we have a small class size that we accept. So we're building a class of specific types of people. And so they're looking to the essay to fill out that class of students. And that doesn't mean people say, well, what type of people? Well, they don't want all the same people, right? They don't want all athletes or all musicians or all, you know, they're building a class. And so once they get a couple of that type, they might be going on to a different type of student. So there's not really a formula, unfortunately, for specific schools. They, you know, but just write your best personal statement. And my belief is that if it's a good fit, that's where you'll end up. If it's not a good fit, they know about their institution. And if you've really shown who you are and done your job, like putting your heart out there and letting them know, they know if it's not a good fit. So I kind of feel like they're doing you a favor. Maybe not a popular opinion, but I really believe that. I just do. So.
Some of these kids need a lot of favors. So any help we can give them, it's okay. But
Yeah.
And speaking of the ones that really need the help, you know, it has been kind of a hard year for most of our students, especially the ones that are almost out. You know, seniors, we're trying to help them right now, but we really would like some good advice for our 11th graders. You know, when I think about it, they've gone through the 10th grade year, missing out on some stuff. They're in 11th grade. They see what's going on with 12, and they're not quite on track. What's some good advice? How would you direct them to prepare themselves for this next step of getting ready for college?
Yeah, well, most 11th graders don't have their college list right now, right? So, I mean, it's great for us to sit around and talk about the essay and the application, but they need to know where they're applying. So I think the focus is on figuring out where they want to apply. And I've seen students change their priorities this year a lot. Some of them who thought they'd go far away are wanting to stay closer to home. So I think evaluating your priorities, starting with that values list, and figuring out like what is important to me, and you know, thinking about different majors. If you're undecided, think about okay, I may not know exactly what I want to do, but what classes have I enjoyed in high school? So what majors am I considering? I love the Coursava card sort. I don't know if you guys are familiar. So coursava.com, C-O-R-S-A-V-A. I'm a huge fan. I have the actual cards here somewhere, but they're like little deck of cards, and each card is something about a school. Actually, let me see if I have them.
Okay.
Should
You
have
guys
had
are getting
these
some
out.
free advice.
I
Pay
should have
attention
got
out here.
Yeah,
I do
here we
post
go.
links at the end of it. So that's, I'm gonna add that, I'm gonna
Oh,
look into that
great.
Coursava and I can add that at the end as well too.
Here we go. They're cards. So like one card is being a big fish in a little pond.
Oh, show that a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, so there's campus culture, like diverse campus, party school, school spirit. So there's all these things that the kids go through. And then my favorite part is they get to rate it. So they say, no way, I don't want a diverse school or whatever. Or they say, no, I don't care really about that. Or that'd be kind of nice. And then must have. So they go through, it's like 100 and something cards, and they can do it online now. They don't have to have the actual cards. So I'm old school with my cards, but they can do it online, and they end up with a report that says your campus must have these things and must not have these things. And then these kind of things in the middle are kind of nice. So they get an idea of like, oh, I'd never thought about that. Would I like a bike-friendly campus? Absolutely. That's something I'm really into, right? So they can go through all these things. And then my other favorite thing is collegeexpress.com. College Express it used to be a book. Again, I'm old school. But the website now has all these lists and rankings of schools. So the person who started it was, he was in admissions, and then he's an independent counselor. And he said when he goes on tours of campuses, he would write lists. This would be a really good school for a quirky student. This would be a really good school for a student who wants a major in biology. This is a school for kids who love school spirit. So you can go through all these lists and try and find schools that match the things you're looking for. So those are kind of my two favorite, like kind of fun things for students to come up with lists of colleges to apply to. So that's what I think they should be doing, other than obviously enjoy spring break, studying for classes. But as they're building their college list, it's stuff they can do from home without having to tour, because so many kids can't tour these days.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. It's so great to hear the advice we give over and over and over again, to hear from an outside source, somebody else besides us, to kind of help them with something that was really difficult for a lot of our kids, to write down what they've gone through, to write down their feelings, to kind of get it, at a good place that they feel comfortable sharing and being that vulnerable. So thank you so much for all of your advice today.
Absolutely. It's so fun being here with you guys.
Oh, geez. Get out of here. Not just yet. Not just yet. Actually, we were talking about, the Coursava and College Express. Is there, I know you mentioned a couple of things that you guys are doing right now. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our fans? I'm calling the people watching fans.
Nice.
Our viewers.
Our viewers.
Subscribers.
Better.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, I would say if you're looking for free resources from us, which we have a lot, go to our website, collegeessayguide.com, go to our free resources tab, and the first thing under that is called the College Application Hub, and it has links to all our brainstorming exercises. We have a free guide for how to write the personal statement. So there's a lot of free things on there, especially for subcategories of kids too, like artists or athletes, LGBTQ, how do they find their place in college? So we've got lots of free resources. And then if your school has not signed up for what we call CEG for schools, have them sign up. A principal, a teacher, a counselor can sign up. It's free, and it gives all the students access to our boot camp. So Ethan is doing these boot camps Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube, and he'll just walk you through the personal statement. He'll also do some on the UC PIQs. Kids out in California have to write those personal insight questions for the UC system, which is a little bit different. So he does a separate boot camp on that. And he's also doing a weekend boot camp on the supplemental essays. So there's lots of free resources, and they get recordings if they can't make the dates. We send them recordings. We've got a choose your own adventure tool, essay writing tool, which is on our website, and every student gets it for free if their school is signed up. So lots of free resources.
Great.
Thank you so much. You know, this has been great. And I love that someone is getting to see that it's not just a guy, but it's a gal that's in there as well.
It's a team, the
Yeah,
college
you know,
essay
that's right.
team.
Well, I know Women's Month is done, but it's never done. It's every day. So thank you for representing the ladies out there as well. And thank you for joining us. This has been really great information that I know our kids will definitely benefit from. And if you guys that are watching, fans or viewers, and you like what you see, please, you know, go ahead and put a thumbs up, you know, subscribe, and watch some of our other videos, because we have tons of great information out there. For myself, Keisha Savory, and
Nicole Gurley.
this was Spill the Tea. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.